welcome everybody to our virtual career fair. I am Amy Stainhook. I'm from DMAC and helping coordinate this experience today. I have on the line Julie White with YSS and Kate Reynolds with ChildServe. This is the social services session, and we're really excited to hear from both of them, learn a little bit more about what they do and their backgrounds, as well as the organizations that they work for. So first off, Julie and Kate, if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself and give us a little idea who you are, what you do, and the organization that you work for, and perhaps you can sprinkle in there your educational background. So let's start with Julie.
Okay, my name is Julie White, and I work for YSS with the Youth Employment Program, and I work with individuals ages 14 to 24, anywhere from working on communication skills, soft skills, doing career assessments, helping fill out job applications, resumes. I do one-on-one sessions, group sessions. I can come into a classroom, kind of whatever the case may be, kind of on an individual basis of what the needs of the person are. I've been with YSS for a year now, this month, and previous to that, I've been a stay-at-home mom for 8 years, something like that. Before that, I worked a lot in, before having kids, more crisis prevention and intervention with domestic violence and sexual assault, and did a little bit of youth development there. So yeah, I'll go into my PowerPoint because that kind of tells more about YSS. And do I just share my screen then? Okay.
Yes, do you have that capability? You should.
I do.
Okay.
Go ahead and, oh, I can do that. Do you all see my PowerPoint?
Not quite yet.
Okay. There it is.
Okay, great. So there's my phone number and email address. I did just get a cell phone since we're working virtually. That's kind of needed at this point in time. There's some of my background. Went to Iowa State, worked at Access, worked with military families, and yeah, here I am at YSS. So YSS first started as an emergency shelter for youth in Iowa in 1972, as well as they included substance abuse intervention services in 1972 as well. And you can see in this timeline that it just kept evolving and encompassing more needs that were in the community. Foster care services began, and in 1976, they incorporated as a private nonprofit. I won't go through all of these, but it leads us to kind of where we are today with such a broad scope of services with YSS. Our vision is a world where youth are valued, empowered to stand strong. We have a mission to create hope and opportunity by putting kids first. Our core values are commitment, collaboration, compassion, innovation, integrity, and a can-do spirit. And I can say that I feel like I've seen all of those throughout this time with COVID, just being innovative on, reaching families, even though we have to distance, using a lot of technology, and just being committed to the families and individuals that we work with. We have 4 core program areas. Prevention, that's where my program falls. So we have before and after school programming and summer programs with that, Kids Club, Team Club Impact, and summer enrichment programs. And that's kind of an opportunity if they're in high school, are looking to potentially get a part-time job maybe in the summer. The Kids Club is definitely, the summer enrichment program is definitely an opportunity to kind of explore if that's a good fit for you. They're always looking for employers in the summertime. Education and prevention, it's very encompassing. Child abuse prevention, mentoring, adolescent pregnancy prevention, substance abuse, human trafficking, tobacco prevention, youth employment, and youth development. We also have a new one since this slide was created, AMP, which is called Achieving Maximum Potential. That is for individuals that have been placed in an out-of-home placement, whether it be with family or they're in a foster family outside of their original family placement. We work with those individuals and just helping them to achieve their maximum capabilities. Parenting and life skills, family development, self-sufficiency services, Baby Bump and Beyond, Family Nest, and Healthy Futures. Some of those programs do go into the home. So if that's something that you're interested in working with those programs, life skills, that's an opportunity as well. We have treatment programs. We have adolescent residential addiction treatments. We have a boys' house and a girls' house, outpatient mental health therapy, substance use counseling, group therapy. I'm not going to go through all the rest of those. You can see those on the screen. A lot of transitional services for individuals that are needing to maybe re-transition into the community or need more life skills to live on their own for the first time. Or maybe there's a need for an emergency bed at our shelter down in Des Moines. We have a multitude of child welfare services as well. Emergency shelter, crisis stabilization. You can see that the day treatment programs and foster care and adoptive services there. A little bit about my program. I did mention that I work with individuals 14 to 24. Individual sessions, presentations. We can work on different life skills too, budgeting, getting your first apartment, those types of things. All of those tie into the ability to keep a job and be successful in your job and find the right career path for you. I also work with business partners to see if they want to partner together, whether it be a service learning project or job shadowing, and seeing if there's some way to get the youth that I'm working with that opportunity there. So there's my contact information. If you click this link down here, you'll see that there's a link to the most recent newsletter. We also created a Let's Talk, YSS Let's Talk program on Facebook. It's Facebook live stream. So every Thursday night at 7 p.m., you'll hear someone from the prevention, treatment, transition, or child welfare and emergency services come in there and talk about their program and what's available to the community. And this Thursday night is an opportunity to view a new program that's going to be starting up in Marshalltown to work with YSS and law enforcement. So you don't want to miss that. So we have our headquarters of YSS at 420 Kellogg Avenue in Ames. That's a lot of the administration things. That's where our prevention, family development, before and after school programs, mentoring, and our AMP programs are housed out of. And then down on 125th South 3rd Street, that's one of our other Ames locations where we have a lot of treatment services and foster care and adoptive services. So Rosedale Shelter is our youth shelter here in Ames for emergency youth placement for kids that are currently in an out-of-home placement. We also have our residential addiction treatment centers there in Ames that I mentioned earlier. YSS Kids Club and Teen Club, I have mentioned. You'll see the list there of where the Kids Club sites are. They may be a little different this school year in regards to all of those being up and running with the changes that have been made with COVID. Wanted to include this too, because YSS also has the Iowa Homeless Youth Center down in Des Moines. So it, like I said, YSS is multifaceted. So it works on a lot of skills with youth, finding a job, basic life skills, all of those that you would think of when someone needs to get back up and running and on their feet. So what is the next step? If you're interested to learn more about a career in social services, I have a couple websites here. You can visit Future Ready Iowa. You can take a career assessment there and look at what the needs are in Iowa and the average pay of those jobs. It'll also give you different colleges that might be a good fit for you. And there's also great resources from workinames.com. That is through the Ames Chamber of Commerce. And you can navigate not only jobs in Story County, but you can also build a resume for free and much more. So different ways to experience if this career path is a good fit for you: job shadowing, volunteering, interviewing someone, taking a self-assessment. Those are all good things to do. So yeah, that's what I have. I just ask that anyone that is on and is able to take the survey, go ahead and click on that. That would be awesome. And I don't know, Nia, do you have any questions for me?
And we'll give her a chance to, oh, she does have a couple questions. Nia, either way, if you'd like to write them in the chat or unmute yourself, you can do that too.
So my first question would be, how is everything?
Okay, so thank you, Julie, for that presentation. Kate, if you would like to introduce yourself, who you work for, and a little bit about your background, we'd like to hear from you as well.
So my name is Kate Reynolds, and I work at ChildServe in the Ames location. ChildServe is actually a pretty large corporation that is based out of Johnston, Iowa, and we have sites in Des Moines, Iowa City, and then the Ames location. So up here in Ames, I'm the director of this program up here. I started with ChildServe actually as a graduate student doing my clinical rotation for PT school down in Johnston. I then got a job up here in Ames about 15 years ago as a PT, and then have worked in various leadership positions until just recently in the last year and a half, where I stepped into the director position, and I oversee all the programs up here in Ames. So ChildServe likes to think of itself as kind of a one-stop shop for families and children with special health care needs. We, in the Ames location, provide physical, occupational, and speech therapy services in an outpatient setting. We also have respite and supported community living programs, which are community-based programs for children that have various special health care needs. They're working one-on-one with staff or nursing assistants, depending on how medically fragile they are. We also have medical and autism day health programs, which are similar to a child care, but they are more specific to children that either have complex medical needs or are on the autism spectrum. We also have a typical child care, which is open for children of all abilities. That's birth through preschool. And we work with families if they've got special health care needs, but we also work with families who are just looking for your typical child care intervention. In Ames, we also have, we are getting ready to start an applied behavioral analysis program, or ABA, which is part of some of our autism services. And it's just an intervention for children on the autism spectrum or with complex behaviors. And we partner with some of our services down in Johnston to bring them up here in Ames. So we have medical equipment, orthotics, which is bracing, and other supportive equipment like that. So a wide variety here in Ames. Down in Johnston and some of our other services, we have other programs on an inpatient side. We also have case management, social workers who help families coordinate and navigate all the different things that they might have to deal with over the years. We focus on children birth through 21, so we work with young adults as well, and some of our programs as well down in Johnston go through age 30. So we are working on helping those families with transitions as they age out of your typical programs. And we offer a pretty huge variety of jobs. So if you're looking for a career in health and human services or even in medical and healthcare, there are a lot of different options at ChildServe with a variety of educational backgrounds needed for those. So a huge bulk of my employees up here in the Ames Center are college students. So they have a high school degree, which is typically required for most of our positions. But they are in our childcare rooms, working one-on-one with children out in the community or here at our center. And they are great stepping stones for people that want to get degrees in health, human services, or healthcare positions, particularly if they want to focus in the pediatric realm. So that's something that I really encourage college students that are looking to pursue careers in that area to consider working for ChildServe, to really get to understand and know the population that we're working with and get that exposure to children with special health care needs. Interesting fact that I just read recently is that it is estimated that 15% of children in Iowa have some sort of special health care diagnosis, which means that there are over 100,000 children that could potentially benefit from services from ChildServe or from other organizations similar to ours. And many of those children also have a dual diagnosis of like a behavioral health or mental health diagnosis. And so there's a huge need in our community for people to pursue healthcare and human services tracks. And even with things like COVID, the need is only increasing. It's not going away. And the stress and everything around this pandemic is I think just really illustrating the need for our services to continue. So it's a pretty stable environment in the fact that there is a need for it and will be a continued need. We do a lot of internships. We've had volunteer opportunities in the past. The pandemic obviously makes that a little bit more difficult these days. But if you're looking for more information on ChildServe, I encourage everyone to go to our website, which is pretty simple, and I can put it in the chat as well. It's childserve.org. And it will give you more information on the variety of services that we have, as well as opportunities for volunteer or even job opportunities in all of our locations. So if you end up going somewhere at Iowa State, that's awesome. Ames is a great location for you to look at jobs. You go to University of Iowa, we have a place out in Coralville, so not far from there as well. Drake, Grandview, we've got places all over the place. So it's a great thing to consider. Also, if you are participating in any clubs in high school that are looking for volunteer opportunities, again, it's not the greatest environment right now for us to bring people onto our campus for volunteer things. But I would still really encourage, if you guys are looking for opportunities, to reach out to me. I'll put my contact information in the chat as well, so that we can talk about what skills or ideas your teams might have, and we can figure out ways for you to interact with the kids or with our services here, even if it's just a virtual tour to learn more about specific jobs or career paths here at ChildServe. That's a pretty quick overview, but I know that we don't have a ton of time. Nia, if you've got questions for me, let her rip.
Kate and Julie, I have one question. What would you say you both enjoy most about working in the career pathway of human services, healthcare? What's the thing you enjoy most? And then on the flip side of that, what are some of the biggest challenges that you face in your career?
Well, I can go ahead and go since I'm unmuted. I think my most favorite part with my job has been the partnership that we develop with families and with children. And in my particular role, since I do a lot more interacting with staff, is helping them figure out how to be as successful as possible in those partnerships with the families. It is extremely gratifying to figure out what somebody needs and help them get what they actually need. So many of the families out there that we're working with are lost. It's a complicated system to have to navigate, and it is important that there are people that will take a moment to listen and really help them figure out what they need. The challenge is that it is a complicated system and there are so many needs out there. So helping people figure out what is going to be the best solution for them is challenging. I think also gratifyingly, I was becoming more and more diverse, and our reach is getting larger so that we can reach more families out there who have needs, and figuring out ways to understand what their needs are and meet them where they're at is a challenge, but it's a good one. So I appreciate that. Julie.
Thank you. Julie, do you have anything to add?
Sure. I think the most challenging thing for me is, when I see potential in someone and there's just a mindset that they're not capable of achieving getting a job or seeing the potential that I or someone else sees in them, that's really hard. And so I like to try and offer encouragement in those situations, just helping someone to believe in themselves that they can be successful in life. So I think that's a huge thing. And I enjoy when someone just kind of connects the dots when we're doing an activity or a career assessment or a team building activity where they can see, oh, I can communicate well, I can be a good leader, just watching that those skills come out when the person may not necessarily know or have been told that they have those skills. So.
And one other question, what skills do you think are absolutely necessary for people who are thinking about entering a field that's a helping profession or in the health and human services?
Mm-hmm.
What do you see being necessary in order to be successful in this career pathway?
I think empathy and compassion is a lot. Also, when I think about just what I'm teaching to youth, those soft skills, communication, active listening, being aware of your body language too. Are you approachable? All of those things. But, just a lot of relational skills, I think, is what's needed. Being understanding, because each person's situation is different, and not being judgmental, but kind of coming in with an open mind that, you may have an idea of how these needs may be met, but that might not be the right fit for that individual.
So empathy and compassion were definitely the two words that I thought of. So I will repeat those because they are important. I also just being willing to try something different, being able to reframe a solution, because what you may think is the solution for one person is not necessarily always going to work for the next one. So being open to learning new things and trying to apply that is super important.
All right. Well, thank you both for your time. Really appreciate your insights and sharing your experiences. I know it's a quick overview, but really appreciate you doing that for us and sharing about your organizations.
You're welcome. Thanks for joining us, Nia.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, guys.